You come at the king, you best not miss.
You're now locked in the zone 32.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Zone 32 podcast. Free agency is officially underway, and the crew is here for you. My name is Jake. His name is Drew. His name is Will. His name is Grant. I think we have time to say what's up to the people, but I'm still not going to do that. So let's get the fuck into it. The Ravens have made two moves so far. They have re-signed running back Justice Hill to a 2-year deal with a max $4.5 million. But that's not it. There's another move they made too. They re-signed Lamar Jackson's cousin to a 1-year deal. Yes, they re-signed his cousin to a 1-year deal. So far, they applied the non-exclusive tag. Within the first 5 hours of free agency, we haven't heard any teams currently fighting to bring him in for a visit or offer him a deal or anything of the sort. So, Drew, I'm going to start with you. What's the end game with this? Will Lamar be on the team this year, or will some fuck like Jim Irsay or Dan Snyder come out of left field and offer buku bucks?
Well, so as of right now, it's 9:32 on March 15th. So free agency, the new league year has been open for 5 hours and 32 minutes, and the Ravens have made absolutely zero moves other than re-signing Justice Hill for way too much money and, re-signing Lamar's cousin. So I just don't know if I could ever be a fan of a team that's, has EDC as GM and has John Harbaugh as coach. I think I'm probably supposed to tweet today. I think I'm supposed to throw in some references to 2019 and that we lost in the playoffs then. And we don't have any wide receivers, and I don't know, they're still starving people in the world, and the pandemic happened, and how could EDC let this all happen? Our fan base is a fucking joke, if we're being honest. If I'm looking at all this shit on Twitter,
I have some advice for EDC. Okay. This is some sage wisdom. I saw it on Twitter today, and I might get it tattooed on my right over my heart, just so it's always there.
Right.
I see it every morning when I wake up.
I think
it goes a little something like this: silence your critics, ignore your haters, delete your cynics.
Preach.
You
should get in front of a group of kids and read that to them. That'd be real motivational.
I will do that, but you got to pay me. You got go to my website, book me. I will show up. I will read that quote to kids for a fee. Okay.
So what you're saying is you're a con artist. You like to lie and shit for a living. That makes sense.
Just in every aspect of life, really. Just.
Who am I to be saying this over the computer? It's real tough to be talking this kind of shit to you over the computer. But when I see you in person, we'll have to, Twitter warrior stuff.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you know where to find me. Casey's General Store, Broadway, Iowa City. I'm there every day. Breakfast, get a breakfast pizza, and I'll be there. You meet me. Iowa.
Right.
Real estate market is hot.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is the Iowa Barnstormers, are they still an Arena Football League team?
I don't know, but I did hear rumors of a new expansion NFL franchise, the Des Moines Val Breakers.
Oh, fucking hey. Well, shit.
That was fucking all right, so anyway, get back on topic here now that we've derailed about 2 minutes in. I don't understand why our fan base is so fucking stupid. It drives me up a goddamn wall, reading all this shit again. So free agency, the new league year officially starts at 4:01. Okay, and all morning it was, why hasn't EDC done anything? What is this moron doing? Legacy defining day, and he doesn't do shit, and blah blah blah. It's what does he gain from making a pending transaction before 4 o'clock? It couldn't even be finalized at that point. And who is he really supposed to go get right now? I know we were talking a little bit beforehand, it would be great if he went and got a DJ Chark before maybe his price went too high, or if he was able to finish off a trade for DeAndre Hopkins, or, go get a Mike Evans or sign some cornerback depth. That would all be cool, but who is really out there that we needed to jump on at 4:01 on March 15th?
Right.
That's not going to be, that's not there anymore. Who did we lose out on, I guess is my point.
Yeah. We didn't lose out on anyone. And honestly, I didn't really see a whole lot of free agents. And now, Darius Slay is an exception to that, but he hasn't even officially been released yet, I don't think.
Yeah, so has he not been released, or are the Eagles released? Did they release him and they're trying to bring him back? Because Josina had a tweet right before we got on that was not really clear to me as to what actually happened.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I saw
sure.
that.
I'm not sure.
I mean, from
I haven't
my
seen any.
understanding, he's cut.
I haven't seen any official like from the Eagles or anything like that about him actually being cut. I think he is probably going to be cut, but I don't know why he wouldn't have been cut before the deadline because that would obviously be a cap saving move. But I don't know. But if he is a free agent, then he's automatically free agent number one. But going into free
Yes.
agency, there was nobody really out there that I saw as like, man, we better jump on this guy fast. Like last year, we were, almost immediately, or maybe even
Markson.
before the 4 o'clock, opening of free agency that Marcus Williams deal was announced. I think it was in the morning on the 15th.
We had him on the tampering day. I think the
Ye-
15th was the tampering day last year. So
Okay, all right. Well,
He was
yeah. So
quick.
I'm not feeling like I don't understand.
there's no urgency.
There
shouldn't
isn't
be
any urgency. Right, exactly. So for once, where the criticism a lot of times is that EDC is too passive. I think he's focused on other things, and trades are one of them. That we had people out there at the Odell workout. He is a free agent I would be interested in, but again, I don't know that we want him to be our top priority. If we signed him, we don't know what we're going to get. From all accounts, it seems like he's recovering well, but if you go and sign Odell Beckham as your wide receiver one, he's the solution, then I think that's a little misguided considering he's coming off the injury. It's got to be him and someone else. And not that we only need one wide receiver, but if we're prioritizing wide receivers, trade targets are way ahead of this free agent class. And people were shitting themselves because Jacoby Myers and Juju Smith-Schuster got signed. It's like, I didn't want either one of them under any circumstances.
No.
Maybe if
See,
it was
I would have been okay with either guy, but they're not anything special. Like
Well,
you said, they're not worth being upset that we don't have them.
no, and I would be mad if the second free agency started, we jumped on either one of those guys because that's not really fixing the problem. That's bringing guys.
I would have been pretty pissed about that.
Yeah.
That's just a forced, stupid signing.
Yeah, because if they did it like that, if we had signed one of those guys right away, that would tell you that the front office believes that's like the solution to our issue, and it's not.
Yeah.
So the fact that they are being selective, you presume because they said in no uncertain terms at the press conference that rebuilding the wide receiver room was a priority. So the fact that no moves have been made means they're doing their due diligence. They're probably on the phones talking trades, and trades aren't. With the league year starting, trades aren't something that typically are going to unfold with big name players, at the same speed as free agents get signed because these trades are going to lead up to the draft. So even if these trades might take up until the draft, I mean, we might not see a trade happen with DeAndre Hopkins until the day of the draft, the morning of the draft, or even after the draft's already started, just like last year with Hollywood. So.
Yeah, because the only trades you've seen happen right now are the Ramsey and the Rodgers trade hasn't even really happened yet. But
Right.
Ramsey was given the ability to handpick Miami as his destination. You know what I mean? So it wasn't that's not a normal trade. That's a Jalen Ramsey went out and sought a trade.
Right.
And Miami said yes, and then they worked out the deal. So and then you got the Waller trade too, but you're not getting a ton of trade activity right off the bat. And I'm sure that they've been shopping Waller for a while.
Yeah, well, and all three of those trades that you just talked about are guys with big contracts. So those were trades that the teams making them are trying to move them in order to make free agent moves.
Right. Yeah, there was a reason for it.
Yeah. So, DeAndre Hopkins is not a move where they're trying to clear out his cap space. They're trying to get something back for him because they have 2 years left and he's going to walk. They can get decent draft capital. So for them, it's more about the return on whatever they get back. So it's not like with Ramsey, they gave him away because they needed to get rid of his contract. But with Hopkins, they're going to take the best deal. They're looking obviously for a second round pick at the very least, I would think. So, yeah, I don't know. I think the approach here with this offseason, and especially, with adding players or with any sort of, front office move is going to be Lamar Jackson priority number one. Obviously, that takes two sides for anything to happen there. And I think in order for any movement to happen, somebody's gonna have to offer him something, or at least talk to him, and he's gonna have to get more of a sense of his market. So I don't anticipate like I at no point did I think that we were gonna get some last minute Lamar deal before free agency open. Like that
I always hold out hope for that because again, like in his tweet storm the other day, like it's very clear there are numbers that he wants,
Mhm.
and I don't know if it's the 175 one has to be fully guaranteed at signing. I don't know if the 200 million needs to be guaranteed to him earlier in the contract. I have no idea, but like clearly those numbers matter to him. And to me, if it's just this simple shifting things forward 2 years as to when it gets actually guaranteed by the contract language, there's always a chance the Ravens just say fuck it and do that.
Well, I just
You know what I
mean
mean?
the timing of it, to me, it was never going to happen before free agency started, because otherwise they wouldn't have used the non-exclusive tag. Because if Lamar's stuck on numbers, he's going to have to hear this from someone else besides us. Because at this point, we've been the only voice in his ear that's telling him what his market is, presumably, at least legally. So no matter what he
I'm
may
sure
have
the
heard,
NFLPA is in his ear. I'm
yeah,
sure that
yeah, but
dumbass DeMaurice Smith is,
definitely. But the only the only general manager that he's heard from legally anyway is Eric DaCosta. So if there were any conversations or any whispers about other teams, the only way that was ever gonna mean anything is when the free agent period opened and they could actually have a real conversation about it. So, if it were the exclusive tag, I would have had hope, or, I don't know if hope, but some optimism, that maybe they were able to come to terms before free agency started so that they could clear the cap space only. Again, like moves that happen around that time with big names, it's only happening because of the need for cap space. So, but the reaction from our fan base about every fucking time somebody gets signed to some team, it's just it's so exhausting. These people, they don't even want the players who are getting signed. They just want something to happen. So like the impatience of these people, like,
they just
and
want
then
a bit.
yeah,
Okay,
and
so
but then later they're gonna, but then 3 months from now they're gonna
Oh my God,
complain
you got
about who
Michael
we
Pierce
fucking
on a
signed. They're
$5
like,
million
oh, the
contract.
whole roster's mid. Yeah, no shit,
Yeah.
because we were signing assholes like fucking Juju Smith-Schuster as our fucking wide receiver 2 seconds after the free agent period opened. So thank Eric DaCosta for not being, trying to get in on the rush, I guess.
Well, so like to go on that, like I don't like his like how stagnant he is. I don't like he's too patient. He's not aggressive enough. We've talked about that. But the thing that I could argue on that sense is, yeah, you don't want somebody, you don't have to sign somebody at 402. But like the legal tampering period started Monday. You should already have contacted these people, had
It's like not
something in mind.
402, but maybe like 502.
Yeah, 502
Yeah.
would be perfect.
507, and it would have been a great signing time.
But like there's been time. I'm more or less on the sense with you guys that like I'm not upset that we haven't made a move for a free agent. Like I'm more upset that a trade hasn't accumulated. Like we know what we need. We know who's out there. We know what it's going to take, but we're not even like in the talks with anybody. Like, and
Well, I
like
think we are in the talks, though. I think we
but
have been linked.
we're never like reported as being involved in things.
But then he's Eric
I
almost
know it
DaCosta,
doesn't
and
matter
then
to a sense, but
yeah.
I honestly think that he's just too patient, man. Like, and like you have a DeAndre Hopkins, you have a Brandon Cooks, you have somebody that you can go get, or at least have been setting up until now. The Lamar thing does throw a wrench in because of the difference in money that if he does sign a deal compared to what the non-exclusive is. But at the same time, once again, you know what you need. There's room there. We talked about a little bit earlier that like just go ahead and make the room. Like not saying all the room, but make some room. Give yourself some flexibility so that you know what exactly you're working with, because we don't know what the market's going to set at. Like in a sense, I get what you all were saying earlier as like don't do it till you need it. In a sense, like don't rush or push anything if you don't need to, but at the same time you do know what you need and you have the flexibility to be able to go ahead and open that up just a little bit, because you don't know if this receiver is going to get 10 million a year. You don't know if he's going to get 13. We know the market's kind of set right now at 11, so now you know what you're kind of working with. So you got DJ Sharks, your Darius Slaytons, who else is out there free agent wise receivers?
Adam Thielen.
Adam Thielen. It's not much right now, but I know how bad we need a receiver, but I keep looking at Marcus Peters might not be back. The whole news was Slay. Like I'm all in on Slay right now. Like you pair him with
Yeah.
Kyle Hamilton, Marcus Williams, Marlon
Marlon.
Humphrey. You got Roquan in the middle. Queen's coming back with some speed, sideline to sideline. Like you're talking about a defense full of just this flexibility, man. You
Yeah.
run so many different fronts, mass shit, like one on one.
Well,
ISO.
Grant, so what I would say to what you're saying, I mean, I understand what you're saying, just clear the space, but there's no way. I'm guessing that EDC's had these conversations with the guys who represent a big chunk of the restructuring. So it would be Ronnie Stanley, Marlon Humphrey, Mark Andrews, and Roquan Smith. Those four guys, you can clear 26 million just on simple restructures, no void years, nothing. And if you want to get creative, you can get up to 40 or so. So
can they do Roquan though, since they just did his deal?
They can.
There's no like time frame.
They can. I think you only get like 3 or 4 million out of it, but you can do it. So what I'm saying is EDC has already had those conversations with those guys and has said, if we can make a move, are you guys willing to do this restructure? And it's basically like it's signed and all it's got to be is submitted to the league. So it's basically like if they have a conversation with a wide receiver, they don't need to have the cap space cleared before they talk to the wide receiver. They just need to submit the restructure paperwork with the new contract. So everything's got to go in together so the cap remains compliant. So I'm guessing all those things are ready to go. It's like if it needs to be done, it will be done. But
they got
you don't
like
want
a gentleman's agreement.
Yeah, you don't want to restructure those contracts if you don't have to. So like he has them ready. He can pull the trigger anytime he needs to, anytime something materializes, including a trade. But if a transaction isn't ready to go, there's no reason to change those contracts because they do change the cap in future years. So there's no reason to fuck with
but
your future year cap.
If you're not going to spend the money, then it rolls over to next year's cap anyway. So like Grant is the kid who asks his mom for $20 and then goes up and gets whatever he wants and just takes the change back to her. And EDC is the guy who goes up, asks how much something costs, asks his mother for that exact amount of money, and goes up and pays for it. Like it's two different approaches to it. At the end of the day, like that washes out at the end. If we restructure,
we know we're going to get close to that cap number anyway. Though we always end up there because of injuries. Because we don't know yet how many draft picks we're going to have. If we start trading people, like say there's a Devin Duvernay trade and we get another 2 picks out of it or something like that, right? So like that's another guy where we can get 4 million back. So and
his value,
I think like a 4 and a 6 or something like that.
I was going to say 5. So
yeah,
and my other thing too is like where I'm more adamant about the free agency side now. Like we've already tried the draft route, we've done all that stuff. This year, there's maybe 3 receivers that I would be okay with at 22, and you're talking JSN if he makes it there, Zay of course, and maybe Addison. But outside of that, I mean, I love Josh Downs. I think he's a second round guy, but like
why not Quentin Johnson?
I'm so out on him. Like he's such a second rounder. I think he's just one of those Big 12 big receivers, but he's not going to be. He reminds me of Kevin White. I keep comparing him to Kevin White. I know Kevin White was hurt by injuries, but at the same time, like I don't know. When I watch him, there's just something that I don't think that's going to translate. And
you can't teach guys to be tall and fast. That's the one thing that keep coming back to.
I mean, how many times does that actually work out? Everybody drafts guys. We got the Jaleel Scotts of the world, like that. You got to convert Darren Waller to a tight end. Like
he's going to be Darius Hayward Bay.
He just was really, man. He ran that 40 time and he jumped up like 2 rounds.
I mean, he was an Olympic class sprinter.
Yeah. But I mean, like you don't know who's going to be there, so it's just too much of a risk at this point. We know what we need to fix, and wide receiver is a huge part of that. I think the draft now is too much of a risk. You need to get that guy.
They'll get that guy. I have full confidence we will get that guy. We will make a trade before the draft, even if it is on draft day. We have our targets. I guarantee you that aside from Lamar Jackson getting extended, the main focus is getting a wide receiver 1 because it's not doing Bateman any good trotting him out there in that role when he'd be better suited to be the second guy.
He reminds me a lot of Michael Gallup in Dallas. Like he's a strong 2. He's like a 1B.
Yeah, right, exactly. But he would benefit so much from a Mike Evans or a DeAndre Hopkins being on the field.
Big time. DeAndre Hopkins, and the reason I'm so big on DeAndre Hopkins is because him and Bateman and Andrews, like the three of them between the two receivers and the tight end set, like they complement each other so well. Like and they're versatile enough throughout the positions and the sides of the field and alignments and all that like they complement each other very well. They have different strengths, different weaknesses.
Right. Yeah. Oh, by the way, the Justice Hill thing, you said we overpaid him, and I don't know that we've seen actual details except for the just like the total.
2
It
years,
was like,
$5 million.
well, it's 2 years, 4.5, could be up to 5, but that we haven't seen if it's how it's broken down with signing bonuses or roster bonuses. If there's no, so if he got, so it's 4.5 million. Say he got a minimum salary this year, and the signing bonus is the remainder, and then the second year there is no, the only thing guarantee, there's no guarantee. It's just salary. That means it's a 1 year deal with a small carryover from the signing bonus, maybe a $2 million signing bonus. And so we're talking about less than 2 million bucks. So I think it's a pay cut. It's definitely a pay cut for him. It's probably in line with what we would be paying for a third running back, no matter where we get it from, unless it's like a fucking undrafted rookie. And we know for a fact that we don't typically put rookie running backs on the field. So,
Like,
so are you
I'm kind of with Drew on this because, like, he's got a special teams ability to him. I get that. Like, he's a third down back. I get that, whatever. But 2.5 million AAV is not like, that's not something that you just go ahead and give somebody when you're tight on the cap anyways. And you're trying
but
to
AAV is misleading here, like I said, because we haven't seen the numbers, how it breaks down. So the fact that it says 4.5 million up to 5, all that bullshit.
But you can get a mid-round.
Let's reserve judgment. Let's reserve
what?
judgment on that until we see how it breaks down. Because
I would like to rephrase my take. It's not overpay. It's that we paid for something that I don't think we needed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
well,
you can get a mid-round back for what? Like what, 620 maybe?
Yeah, I think it's like.
Well, but the first year they get a signing bonus. So no.
Yeah, but it's still like it's the minimum against the cap. But
Yeah,
a fourth round pick's getting you like 700 million against the cap or something like that.
And you can find, like, I mean, this
or
this
700,000.
draft is
That's
pretty
700
deep
million.
with running backs, like mid-round running backs.
I'm sure there was a cost analysis done here. I'm sure there's a cost analysis done, and it's going to be around the same amount we would have paid for that role no matter what. And we lean on all our running backs. So like fair enough, we can get a running back, mid-round running back, but are we going to trust, like, we've had mid-round running backs, mid and late round running backs that we've drafted, and they end up on the practice squad all year long. And when they are forced into actually playing, they don't understand. And this could change because we don't have Greg Roman and his fucking wild ass running scheme anymore. But like, God, I can't remember his fucking name. Williams. What was his first name 2 years ago?
Tyson Williams.
Yeah, Tyson Williams. He
didn't understand the playbook.
Right.
Moron.
Exactly. And Beatty this year. So like everybody's talking about, oh, he went and immediately played for Denver. He played for Denver in one game or two games.
Six of their running backs got hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And it's like he scored a touchdown.
Game,
great. He had a game. Great. He's a fucking NFL player. Of course he did. But like all they did was just, that's not the same as if you're going to actually play a role in especially with Roman in that Ravens offense, he didn't understand. He probably didn't have a full grasp of it. And how is he going to overcome? He's going to play ahead of Kenyon Drake? No, definitely not. So, and to be fair, also, I thought Justice Hill was going to get cut last year. I had my cut list from last year. He was on it. He played well this year. He showed a lot. I thought he played so much better.
I don't really have an issue with him as the player. I don't really have an issue with bringing him back. I was being half, over dramatic like our fans, but
damn duct
I
tape.
just, yeah, goddamn fucking roll of duct tape, Phil. I don't think it was a necessary expenditure. I also don't really care that they spent the money on it. Like I was just, it's not needed, and there was other shit that I would rather them go do. But
it's
again,
too
it's not
narrow.
Like
the reaction was another example. It's the exact same thing as people reacting to fucking Juju getting signed. Like, it doesn't mean anything. And the fact that people were getting all fucking bent out of shape about how much it costs is like, okay, we can create, like we just talked about, $40 million if we want it, if we need it right now. So like, let's not sweat Justice Hill's little teeny tiny contract. Now we have our running back group is set. So forget about it. So and Spencer made a good point. Now we don't need to use a pick on a running back. So
Oh god, his mentions are a fucking war zone, by the way. I'm staying the fuck out of those.
yeah.
God,
But
he's got the fucking
he made a
idiot
perfectly
magnet.
good point. It's probably more of a 1 year deal. Like we're not gonna. I highly doubt Justice Hill's gonna be on this team. I bet we can cut him next year with either minimal or no dead cap
cap.
whatsoever from
Yeah.
it. So we are comfortable going into the season now with three guys who've been in this offense for a while. Granted, it's a different offense, but they're
Say
they're
nobody's been
team
in this
guys.
offense at all.
Right. It's true. But we have three guys who've been in the locker room now for several years. So the continuity we have in that group, that's good. It's like one of those things like, okay, we're just finding reasons to get mad. So maybe you want to use the sticky side of the tape, Drew.
Yeah, well, you fucking bully me online for using the fucking vertical thing. No, never have any problems. I'm like, I'll go horizontal, so Will starts being an asshole. No, fucking falls over every 5 seconds. Dickhead. It's just
No,
totally
I
your fault.
mean, so I can see where you're coming from with that, like the continuity thing, but I don't know. I just in the Trayvon Mullen thing, I mean, I was just being stupid about that, but I mean, everybody like with a brain knew that was going to happen because we claimed all favors after the season. Why are you claiming them after the season if you're not going to have plans to,
Right.
sign them to some sort of deal or
Well,
whatever?
we need
He's
cornerback
also-
depth. So
And he's Lamar's cousin.
well, and again, he's a guy
Nepotism.
he was picked, nepotism.
Yeah.
He was picked 40th overall. So I mean, he's got skills. I mean,
But
he's
he was picked 40th by Mayock, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep,
Well,
that's
So
correct.
naturally, he was an 80th.
So it's a really
overall
like a 70.
prospect.
So really,
Yeah.
he's like a 70-80 pick.
whatever. He's still a
Solid. Better than Jalen Armour Davis. So
right. Exactly. I'm not gonna. He's probably better than fucking Chris Westry.
CB3.
Yeah.
CB3.
We've these are positions, running back and cornerback, where we have seen what happens when you don't have enough depth and you got to rely on fucking guys off the street like Tremont Williams a couple years ago, who we signed, 38 years old, who had been fucking retired.
Robert
Yeah, it was
Jackson.
ugly.
Yeah, Robert Jackson
Daryl
getting
Worley's back too. People forget.
That's true.
I got him a
flashed.
contract.
He
I
flashed.
got him a contract.
Yeah, but again, like so, the back end of the cornerback group is pretty good. And not good in terms of like, oh yeah, we have these great players at the back end. It's just we don't need to go overboard drafting 2 or 3 cornerbacks because we're depleted there. We need to draft a second starter, and I think maybe Brandon Stevens slots in. I didn't mean to say slots in, but he maybe he's the slot corner now. Or maybe he plays
gets one
outside
more
and
year.
Marlon
He
slides
gets
in.
one
I don't
more
know.
year from me.
So
Is
I
it
don't know.
him
I
or
think
Darius Washington? Because that's the
I
guy
like
that I would be
I
looking
like
at
our
coming out of
Darius
camp.
Washington a lot.
yeah, but
So
the more that
I
we
think
talk
they're-
about it, the group sounds like it's going to be pretty good. There's no way
Yeah.
our second cornerback is going to be some like retread shitty player. It's
He's
either going to be
big play Slay.
it's either
I
going to
think it's
be
gotta be Slay
somebody
or
like
Peters.
Slay, or we re-sign Peters, or we draft a guy in the first round. Like I'm not totally
Riley
opposed to
Moss.
that depending on how we approach wide receiver before we get to the draft. So and between now and then, who knows what we do with creating more picks with guys we might trade.
Maybe
We
we
should
trade Marlon for being a fucking asshole on the internet.
trade Pat
No,
Ricard
he
to
is like
trade Pat
fuck up.
Ricard to
Shut up.
San
Shut
Francisco
up.
or something.
Fuck
Marlon
up.
is
Shut the
A
fuck up.
plus on Twitter. That dude cracks me the fuck up, man. That guy is like an elite Twitterer.
No, he's an asshole. Did you not
He's
see his
fucking
latest?
funny.
The funniest thing that he's done is pretend that someone else was tweeting for him.
Oh my god! But today was funny as shit when he said Lamar wouldn't tell him because he knew he'd tweet it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and after that,
when he said, "Oh
pissed
yeah,
himself
a
I was
social,"
lying.
yeah, he said I had a social media manager. Bull fucking shit. There's no way that anybody can replicate the way he tweets. No one.
And he makes fun of like the builders of his house all the time.
Yeah. That he is good at Twitter for sure.
He also had a great exchange with Lacey earlier this week. So,
Oh, yeah.
not on black. It's just like I just don't want to see him on my timeline. I was like, but just it's the blunt way that he words things like that. Where I'm like, all right, like you're not built to be a professional athlete. Like
Yeah.
you're
He said
too like.
I
he
hope
didn't
he's
do
a
anything. I just
lifer.
don't want to see him on my timeline.
Yeah, I hope he's a lifer. I love Marlo.
I hate him 10% of the time, but it's just like when it's good, it's good. When I hate him, I want to punch him in the fucking face like today. But
Well, don't ask Tom what he thinks about him because Tom will tell you he's the worst cornerback in football.
again, there is a commonality here. SEC.
Yep.
And defensive player, Tom hates him.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, so Patrick Queen has been one of these guys. Like, when's the deadline to pick up his option, or did that already pass?
Yeah, it's in May at some point.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So
it's after the draft.
So, I guess people were thinking like he was somehow going to get traded before free agency open. There's just no reason to. His cap hit's really low this year, but I think he is still like depending on the team, the needs that they have, he's still I think a desirable trade target, and he could create.
If Arizona says, "Hey, instead of giving us 22 overall, you give us Patrick Queen in your 5th round pick," like you say yes to that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like that's.
Of course.
That's going to be the situation where you move Patrick Queen is where, a team approaches you and says, "Hey, we'd rather have Patrick Queen than a pick."
If it's
And-
not a scenario like that or a second rounder or higher, I'd say no. Because he did
exactly.
come on last year next to Roquan. So he is becoming an asset and he's getting a little bit more confidence. But if there's someone offers you a second or a part of a deal for like a DeAndre Hopkins, you got to say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's a guy that you're not actively shopping, but if somebody comes to you with an offer you can't refuse, then you have to take it.
Yeah. I'm certainly not of the opinion that we have to get rid of Patrick Queen. I thought he played really well last year.
Yeah,
especially after
I like him
Roquan
too.
showed
I know
up.
that people don't. I know that people don't like him, but there is some. He's a little too emotional sometimes, but he's kind of got that that fire. It's anger, which I like. It's misplaced rage, and if somebody can focus that on the football field, like it's always good.
He made a lot of big plays.
He
Down,
did.
and not even
his
like for
confidence.
the second half, not even the second half, the second, I guess 2/3 of the season, he was pretty consistently good, I'd say. Not even like he's okay. I think basically every game, he had a few moments where he,
Relapse to old.
and it's
old
it's like when he makes mistakes, it's like he's relying too much on his athleticism.
No, it's not even. It's that he over pursues everything. It's
That's-
that
I
he
think
is-
athleticism.
that's athleticism. That's like he's not using his intelligence. He's going.
Most of
Yeah,
his like mistakes are mental mistakes, or he's in like he's wrong positioning, or like a bad angle, or
Yeah.
something that.
That's
like,
why I think there's
it's not
hope
a
for
lack of
Owe.
athleticism, and that's why he makes those like splash plays, and like he's a great blitzer, and
Right.
like he's got great speed.
I think about putting him on the edge too. Why not?
I mean, honestly, he would be good coming off the edge, like.
If you take him and Bowser and kind of rotate them off the edge,
Yeah.
like
Well,
that kind of gives you.
Yeah, and maybe I think Queen and Owe kind of are cut from the same cloth in terms of like I'm saying their potential is so rooted in their athletic ability, and what we were just talking about, a lot of the mistakes that Queen makes are because he's relying too much on athleticism and not using his brain enough, and Owe has obviously a lot of the physical tools. He overruns plays, doesn't wrap up, takes bad angles, all the same exact shit that you just said about Patrick Queen, Grant. So
what has Owe done since the Chiefs game in 2020?
He had
a
few plays this year, a few plays, not a few games. I'm saying he had moments where he looked good. So all I'm saying is now
he's always there, but not there.
Yeah. So let's see what happens when we get a full season with him and Ajabo and whoever else is part of that pass rush, because we at the moment we don't have Calais Campbell on the team. I feel like he's probably going to be back on some sort of well, you said the same thing last year, and then he was really good this year. So, I mean,
yeah, but then he sent that fucking text message of somebody's going to get a beast. Fuck off. You're 83 years old. Go be tall and fucking loud and do
whether or not he's back, it doesn't matter. I'm just talking about who's going to be part of the pass rush. We know for a fact it's going to be Ojabo, it's going to be Owe,
Travis Jones, Michael Pierce,
Broderick
Washington.
Broderick Washington.
Broderick came on big time last year too.
Hopefully, Justin Houston, another guy that you didn't want back last year.
Does Dalen Hayes stay, or I am ignoring that because I then had a lot of Justin Houston Defensive Player of the Year tweets afterwards make up for it, so it's okay.
So my thing with the difference of the Owe and the Queen thing is, I think that Owe is Yeah, but always a super freak athlete, but he doesn't. And everybody jokes about like, oh man, he's got that dog in him. Like Queen has like that like killer instinct to him. Owe, I feel like is a little soft. I feel like he doesn't have that killer instinct, and I think that's why. Because if you watch him off the edge, I mean, he almost like hesitates a lot, and especially before contact. And
Patrick
I
Queen
just
has
don't think
black
he
Air
has like
Force
that
energy.
edge to him, pun intended.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
Patrick
we'll
Queen
see.
has black Air Force energy. I mean, he listens
He
to NBA
does.
YoungBoy before games. He's he may not actually be a menace to society, but he wants to be a menace to society. And I feel like always listening to like fucking Mozart and scared to tackle somebody.
I'm not saying we're going to see it. I'm saying I'm hoping that year 3 we see the guy we took because of his upside. We start to see that upside more consistently on the field, and I think it's going to have a lot to do, just like it was with Queen, with who he's paired up with in the position group. And I think Ojabo is going to benefit him. So we thought we were going to see Ojabo on the field more than we did last year, and we only got a game and a half out of him. Not even a game and a half. We got a game
Speaking
and
of,
a
speaking of
quarter.
Black Air Force energy, can we bring Hattie back yet?
Yeah, why not? Like fucking let him start it. Let him take fucking Clay's snaps. I'd much rather have Jihad.
Isn't he still with the Giants?
I thought he was
only
traded.
signed a 1 year.
Yeah, I thought he signed a 1 year as well.
I thought it was
I could be
2.
wrong.
I thought it was 2.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but I'd take him over Clay any day of the week.
I just haven't seen his name at all.
Because he's kind of that guy that like everybody forgets exists, and then they're like, "Oh shit, Jihad Ward, he's good."
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a Wink guy, so it would surprise me if Wink let him get away and come back, and who knows if McDonald wants him or not. I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah, it was a 1 year.
It was 1. Okay. Well, I mean, he would be a guy. He's not
Can I
like
go recruit him again?
in great demand, so maybe he ends up with us, maybe he doesn't. But
I'll recruit
again,
him. I'll recruit him a second time. Maybe this time it'll work.
Yeah, I'm a big Hattie fan, dude. His energy cracks me up, and then, I mean, he's got the most viral Ravens picture with the double birds in Tennessee, man.
Yep.
Like, I mean, that's a staple.
I forget who he just responded. It was Josh Jacobs was bitching about his contract or whatever, and he responded with like a video of like, "You'll be fine, relax." It's like, yeah, you're gonna get like $14 million this year. Like, shut the fuck up.
yeah, he signed a franchise tag, right?
You got a franchise.
Yeah,
you got
you
a
got
tag.
a tag.
So he's getting 10 million then, right? That's the running back tag is 10.
I think it's more.
It might be 12. It's over 10.
Pretty
but
sure.
less than 15.
No, I'm pretty sure it's like 10.1. Because
Is that what
Saquon got
got
it
too?
and Josh Jacobs got it, and then you know why I remember this, because I was surprised Evan Ingram, the tight end tag is higher than the running back tag.
Yeah, because running backs are useless by NFL.
Yeah, it's
standards.
just crazy though, because even 5 years ago, I think the running back tag was probably way ahead of the tight end tag.
See, we can't say running backs are useless then pay $2.5 million for a third string special teamer.
So we should go after Zeke, right?
No,
Get 4 running backs. Why?
we definitely don't need 4.
There are players and things that I want to happen with this team just to watch people melt down on Twitter.
Yeah,
They have absolutely
yeah.
no meaning to the team. But
if we didn't
Bring
find
me
a
Leonard
way,
Fournette.
well, if we didn't find a way to keep Gus, cut his salary and keep him, then I would have wanted someone like Fournette or Zeke, like a big body running back. But we already have it. So like I said, the running backs, I don't even want to think about it. They're done. We're good. We're set.
I think Zeke goes to Detroit.
Definitely could. That Jamal Williams signed with New Orleans.
Yeah,
So-
Yeah, so that and
David Montgomery went to Detroit too. I could see them too. Man, that'd be.
Well, and Swift
can't
is still
trust-
there, so I don't know.
Yes.
If they're,
Yeah, but
He and
you
Swift.
can't trust them.
They could be
And
trying
is,
to move. I
Dalvin
think
Cook gonna
Swift
get
was
moved?
in the doghouse last year. Swift could get moved.
I still remember Swift got accused of a double murder in Philly, and then nothing happened with that. So
that I think was
was-
just made up by Twitter.
yeah, no, it was Reddit, but yeah, it was one of those like wild rumors that somebody like some dickhead.
My
53
my old roommate is a Reddit guy, and he said it's a cesspool. I've never been on
Oh,
that
yeah.
in my life, but
they
Remember-
hate me on Ravens
Remember
Reddit.
Ken Bone?
Yes.
Remember
Yeah.
how he was like famous because he was he asked those questions at the debate, and then within like 20 minutes people had dug up his Reddit history and he was like searching.
Yeah.
He was like searching for weird ass porn on there.
Yep, he was a strange guy.
Yeah.
he
What?
didn't.
Yeah, that was like the
You mean you looked at him and didn't think he was a strange
Yeah,
guy?
that guy with his fucking red sweater, you thought he was normal?
but the thing
It was
is,
like,
if
oh,
that
he's so
happened in
wholesome.
like 2009, nobody would care.
No,
Like 2009, nobody would know he was a closet weirdo, or you'd know he was a closet weirdo, but there wouldn't be proof, and now there's proof of it. Yeah, he was like the first one. He was like the first internet takedown. Like that's when society started going downhill. Ken Bone got ruined.
Yeah, it's almost like being a youth preacher and trying to dunk on someone, and then your whole cheating scandal just gets fucking thrown right back in your
Like,
face.
you act like this big tough guy who's going to go fight people on the internet, and then you learn that you don't like fighting people. You like fighting people who don't fight back, and stepping on your family. So, but I guess we're gonna have to discuss that in person at some point, is what I've been told. So, I don't know. We'll wait to see when that happens.
Delete the cynics.
Yeah, delete the cynics. It's it's gonna be my new motto for life. Delete the cynics. Do we want to get into the Lamar contract stuff and the fucking fuckery that has caused online?
Can.
God, it's fucking exhausting. The
It
people
is exhausting.
and you know what the most exhausting part is to me? Lamar, either he knows what he's doing by doing this, or he has exposed himself as to why this situation has gotten to the point that it has. That when he responded 133/3, and I don't need an agent, that tweet, it fucks so many people's brains up because people think that he's saying he was offered a 3-year, $133 million contract. He was saying he was offered $133 million fully guaranteed over 3 years. He's not saying that's the whole contract. He's saying that's the 3 years of the contract were fully guaranteed at $133 million. Then people are like, disrespectful, 3 years, 130. Number one, if that was the offer, that's not disrespectful.
That confirms that was the offer, because Lamar himself has now said that was the offer. So to spell this out for the stupid people, because the stupid people like to listen to our podcast and complain about things that we say.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson was offered a 5-year, $250 million extension, potentially $260 million extension. You see some fluctuation in numbers there, whatever, on top of his 1-year, $25 million 5th-year option. Okay, so of the new money, it was $133 million guaranteed at signing. It was $175 million guaranteed for injury that became guaranteed on the first day of the 2024 league year. And then there was a 2026 roster bonus for $25 million. So that gets you to $200 million guaranteed over the life of the contract. At some point, like, you have to still be on the roster for, multiple milestones.
Hold on. To be clear, $200 million fully, not fully guaranteed, $200 million guaranteed over the first 4 years of the 5-year deal. So that means there's no guaranteed money in the 5th year, but if you get to year 4, you get your 25 million and you get your 200 and you're going into year 5. Number one, that contract is made to be renegotiated after 3 years. So you're never really going to touch the 4th year. So that's right. So because that's when the cap hits start to get heavy. So it's the function of it, and this may be why he was pointing to 3 years, but the 133 is the hard part for me, because he's making it seem like the guaranteed for injury aspect of it isn't fully guaranteed, but the mechanism of the contract means basically within a 370 day period, so 5 days into the league year 2024, that injury guarantee becomes fully guaranteed. That means within 1 year plus 5 days of you signing the deal, you're guaranteed that $175 million. Okay. So for all intents and purposes, $175 million was fully guaranteed, because the $70 million that they would have already paid him, there's not going to cut bait on that. Right. That's dead. So they're not going to eat that. So the way it's being argued, though, it's like the people eating it up and spitting it back. Like, we told you, disrespect. There's no disrespect here whatsoever. The amount that was fully guaranteed at signing is the second most ever, only behind Deshaun Watson, which I still think it shouldn't even be part of the conversation.
Okay, so
they already restructured him.
I'm looking at this.
Yeah, it's even worse now.
I'm looking at this from a Lamar standpoint of Lamar wants as much guaranteed at signing as possible. And so you realistically have, in the first year of that contract, $175 million become fully guaranteed. Why not just do that at signing? I have no issue with him asking for that additional $42 million at signing. I understand that it's a lot more than anybody has ever gotten at signing other than Deshaun Watson. It's also not a crazy ask from him. Like, I have no problem with that. I also don't think he's really all that upset about it. I feel like people put emotion and tone behind his tweets that don't exist. I
Right.
also don't know Lamar Jackson personally, so maybe he is really pissed about it. I really don't know. But like, if you look at it, you and I have talked about this contract multiple times on this exact same offer that is now being reported as fact. We were laughed at and told that it never happened. And now it's clearly been confirmed that that's what happened. My whole thing is that, like, there is some middle ground here that can be reached. The Ravens and Lamar feel like they got to a point where they couldn't settle on a middle ground and that they needed a third party to come in and basically do it for them. So that's both of them acknowledging there's no way that they put the non-exclusive tag on him on bad terms with him. You know what I mean? Like, it was clearly a discussion between the two sides. So you have the numbers 133, 175, and 200. If Lamar wants 175 and 225, whatever, like that's something that you can let him go test the market for. I don't get the victory laps on the Ravens fucked up and they disrespected Lamar. I also don't get the victory laps on the Lamar is unreasonable and wants too much. Like,
I don't think he wants too much. I don't fault him for wanting as much as he can possibly get. Now, the distinction that needs to be made is he can think that he, and deserve is a tough word. Personally, I don't give a fuck how much he gets paid. If he gets paid $1 billion, great. As long as it works and the team can continue to build and get better, I don't give a shit. It's not my money. I really don't care. And I don't fault him for wanting as much as he can get. We all want as much money as we can get from our job. But if you think you're worth X amount and the market does not bear that out, then you were wrong and you need to reassess and you need to find the deal that is fair for what you are looking for. If nobody else is willing to give you a deal that matches what you think you should get, then you're probably just not correct on what you think you should get. I mean, the market is the market. It's just like if I took my used car to the dealership and I was like, yeah, I want to trade this in. They're like, all right, we'll give you $12,000 for it. I was like, no. I want $40,000 for this. And they're like, well, that's not what it's worth. And I'm like, well, I think it is. Well, guess what? They're the fucking people who appraise cars. They know. So who am I to tell them? So the fact that people say it's disrespectful that we put the non-exclusive tag on him is so stupid. I think it would be more disrespectful if we put the exclusive tag on him. We were like, we get to tell you what you're worth.
We're holding you hostage. That's
exactly.
Well, and I think that a lot of it too is I think a lot of it's just like, it's not miscommunication, but it's just the language of the contract. And I feel like the Ravens are very hard line in the sand type organization. And like, this is our number. This is what we're sticking to. We're not budging on it. But I think if they just rework the language of the contract, I think it's going to come off better. Like, the whole injury thing is like, he doesn't have an agent. Like, he's not going to get one. Okay. So just, that's done. He's not going to get an agent. So just, that's it. Change the language up, explain it. Like get the injury word out of there. Like, if you want to give him the 175 guaranteed at the start of the 2024 year, just do that. Like, give him the 175 guaranteed.
He's robbing himself though. But
he is.
By
but
not building in a second layer of guarantees.
Because if they get this Burrow deal done, and I was reading something earlier that the reason that the Bengals are kind of like in a hole right now, like they're in a cave, they're trying to work out this mega deal with Joe Burrow. If that deal gets done before Lamar, I mean, that could really throw a wrench into shit too.
I don't think it will. I think it will help us.
They don't have the cash.
Lamar's the type of guy where I think he would sit out.
I don't think he'll sit out. He's always been about his money. He's always been about his money. And even on the non-exclusive tag, the 32.5 or whatever the number is, that amount represents, I'm pretty sure it like basically doubles what he's made in his NFL career. He's not going to, you think he's going to give that away? He's already lost leverage on that.
For the next year.
Do you follow him on Instagram?
Yeah.
Do you follow Lamar on Instagram? I mean, look at the stories the guy's putting up. Do you think that that's somebody who's upset?
No.
That's somebody who's in this deep emotional thing.
Sonic the Hedgehog shoes earlier.
Yeah, like he gives zero fucks right now. He knows he's about to secure generational wealth.
But here's my thing too, and I said it a little bit earlier. Is me personally, I hate. I've mentioned a million times. I fucking hate the franchise tag. I think tags are the dumbest fucking thing in all sports.
Take it up with the NFLPA then, because they negotiated it.
But like, if you play on the tag, and let's say he plays on the tag, he gets hurt. He gets a serious injury this time, like, something major. So at that point, he screws himself for the next year into his new contract.
There's precedent here already. There's precedent for this.
But it's, I mean,
I
Grant,
think
what it boils down to is the Ravens are not going to let Lamar Jackson walk away. Like
they
I
can't.
do they can't, and they're not going to. They're not that stupid.
right. The
And
only way he leaves is if the Ravens can get a lot more than just 2 fucking draft picks. That basically when they put that non-exclusive tag on him, it was guaranteed that he was going to be here, whether he decides he's going to sit out or not. He's going to be here because we're not going to accept 2 first-round picks in exchange for this generational talent that we have on our team right now. Whether it means we end up with fucking Anthony Brown as our starting quarterback, whatever. That's up to Lamar if he plays on it or not, but we're not going to let him walk away. What will happen is he sits out, and he can only sit out up to week 10. Because if he sits out on week 10, the tag carries over to next year. So he can only sit out 10 weeks. He has to play. And then, next year we can tag him again, or we can negotiate, and he can negotiate in better faith than he has been. Because if it, again, I do not fault the guy for wanting more money, but it's not a good faith negotiation if your entire your negotiation strategy is no, it has to be this amount or nothing. That's not a fucking negotiation. It just isn't. That's not how it works.
Side note, not to change the subject, but Orlando Brown just signed with the Bengals.
For real?
Pussy,
Yeah,
pussy. Fuck that
I'm
guy.
fine with that.
Fucking
4
bitch.
years,
What a
64
fucking
million,
cunt.
31
What a
at
bitch.
signing.
So he fucked himself out of like $40 million there.
I was gonna say, wasn't it 60 or 70 mil at signing? The Chiefs offered him.
I want to say it was like 50, but it was
50.
also like a $90 million contract.
Yeah.
So it was close to Ronnie's contract. I'm fairly sure it was less guaranteed money than Ronnie. Good. Fuck that guy. I'm a left tackle. Suck my dick. Fucking clown. Oh, my dad wanted me to play left tackle. Yeah, go fuck yourself. You see, that's a guy who is actually an idiot who shot himself in the foot.
Hold on, are you seeing the numbers on this?
Grant saw him.
Yeah, 4 for 64 and 31 up front, or 31 signing bonus.
Okay.
But yeah,
Idiot. I cannot. I fuck that guy.
So hold on. This guy who claims he's a left tackle just signed. Yep. He's the number 1 free agent on the market, allegedly. And he just signed a 4-year, $64 million deal. Ronnie Stanley's guaranteed money in his deal is $64 million. This is not a guy.
So hold up.
So
did the right tackle that says he's a left tackle just get paid like a right tackle?
He got paid like a guard.
Yes.
Yeah.
We just had
that's what Ben Powers got, right?
No, not Ben Powers.
Powers got 13 of the year.
Yeah, no, somebody else. The guard for the Falcons just got 21. I'm pretty sure just got $21 million a year.
Yep.
He was like the first person that signed this year.
Yeah, that is fucking hilarious. So another thing I want to complain about the Lamar Jackson his tweet creating some confusion amongst idiots is people are very confused about what guaranteed at signing means. So guaranteed at signing does not mean that he gets paid that money when he signs the contract. It still is paid out over the life of the contract. It just means that if the contract is terminated at any point, he's owed that money. So these people who think that if he signs a fully guaranteed $200 million deal, he's going to get a check for $200 million, like when he walks out of the room, are stupid. They're like, oh, he wants his money now. What the fuck does it mean he wants his money now? It's the same. Well, you got to look at the breakdown. You see yearly cash. It just basically means that the cash is distributed evenly throughout the entire contract. These people are fucking brain dead, man.
Well, these are the same people who have spent days arguing with you and I that the Ravens leaked this contract to ESPN in September.
Mm-hmm.
We have people like vehemently in our mentions telling us that it was Eric DaCosta who put this out there and he broke that trust agreement that he had with Lamar and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, Chris Mortensen has said on multiple occasions that he got the contract from the NFLPA.
Right.
So, like, you are arguing with people who are just too fucking stupid to read anything more than a tweet.
Well, and EDC,
and even when it says it in the tweet.
And EDC even essentially said that during the end of year presser when he kind of took a shot at the NFLPA for leaking it. He said, like, we take pride in the fact that this stuff doesn't leak, except for, the NFLPA leaked that specific report about the same fucking thing we're still talking about.
If you really want to point fingers at it, Lamar leaked that contract because Lamar gave it to the NFLPA, and then DeMaurice Smith saw his golden goose to fight for fully guaranteed contracts.
Right.
And so, again, Lamar put that contract in somebody outside the organization's hands, and that's how it got out to the public.
Well,
I don't fault him
yeah.
for doing it, but
No, I don't
that's
fault
what
him either.
happened.
And another annoying aspect of this whole thing too is we're still arguing, like we meaning the entire internet is arguing about the contract that was offered going into the season at the that Lamar imposed deadline.
And
Like
that might not even have been at the Lamar imposed deadline. That could have been a couple of weeks before it, for all we know.
whatever it
There could have
was,
been multiple offers since then.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever it was, the numbers that are being like litigated right now on online and on ESPN are pertaining to that report from the 11th, that tweet from Mortensen. And since then, we know for a fact, leading up to the tag getting placed on Lamar, there were other offers, and you got to assume those offers were better than that one. But that's the only one that's being talked about because that's the only one that got leaked. So the fact that we're still arguing over that, how about somebody shed some light on this and say what the newest offer is, what the best offer is? Because they said, remember, there was that tweet that said the Ravens' best offer is out. That was like 2 weeks ago, going into the
Yeah.
weekend. What's that offer? I'd like to know because I bet it's better than 133 and
What
175.
I would like to happen is that anybody with a single digit IQ is not allowed to talk about contracts on the internet, because then we stop getting stupid things like people quote tweeting a contract offer talking about Lamar doesn't want anything like ifs because injuries happen. And then right in the tweet, it says guaranteed for injury, this
Right.
amount.
Yeah.
Okay. We allow stupid people to have a platform. We allow stupid people who think higher of themselves than they should because they're illiterate morons that shouldn't have freedom of speech. First Amendment rights should not apply to everybody. And they're allowed to spew this stupid fucking shit online. And then they get dumb people who click on their tweets and like, this guy seems trustworthy. I'm going to fucking parrot what he says. And then they go parrot it to somebody else. And then this is how dumb shit spreads on the internet.
Yep.
I do it all the time for fun. I
Yep.
say dumb shit that's wrong. And then I watch stupid people run wild with it.
Well, and people are looking at that. So that the tweet that was being referenced and so the 133, then the 175 for injury, and they're saying, why is that even in there? It's in every fucking contract ever except for the Deshaun Watson contract.
Yeah.
That's the only one it's not in, and the reason is it protects the fucking player. So it's above and beyond the guaranteed money at signing because the player is then protected for injury beyond the signing of the contract. This is not fucking rocket science. So the fact that people are like, it shouldn't have to be based on injury. Motherfuckers, they're guaranteeing more money in case he gets hurt. And they're saying they're using this too. They're saying they asked him to run the ball more than any other quarterback in the history of the NFL.
He's also better at it than any other quarterback in the history of the NFL. So
these are the same people. These are the same fucking people who, when the criticism comes in, Lamar's injury prone because he runs, and then they like to point out he got hurt in the pocket. Both times he's gotten hurt was in the pocket,
Yep.
right? Okay.
Oh, 3 times.
So why are you talking about they had him run the ball more than any other quarterback? He didn't get hurt running the ball. We've all been saying this. He's durable. So like, and guess what? No matter what, every quarterback who is a good runner, and we always go back to Michael Vick because Michael Vick was the dual threat who really relied on his legs as much as his arm, and Lamar Jackson is in the same boat. He's better, but he's in the same boat. I just don't understand. Like, you think that any team is going to say, hey, don't run? No. And do you think that Lamar's instincts are going to say, I'm not going to run the ball? No, he's going to fucking continue running the ball because he's really good at it. So
I mean, that's a huge part of his game.
right. So the fact that it's like, okay, when critics come in and say Lamar, he can't sustain this, he's going to get hurt running the ball, and then they say, well, he's never gotten hurt running the ball, he's only been hurt in the pocket, and then we talk about there's an injury guarantee in there, and they're like, oh well, they want to talk about an injury guarantee, but they want to make him run the ball more. Well, which is it then?
But see, these people are okay. So before the Lamar contract became a thing, it was the Lamar doubters when he got drafted versus the people who believed in Lamar when he got drafted. And the Lamar doubters will never give Lamar his credit because that means they'd have to admit that they were wrong on their take that Lamar Jackson is not going to be a good NFL quarterback. These people, for whatever reason, think that the Baltimore Ravens do not like Lamar Jackson and Lamar Jackson does not like the Baltimore Ravens. And so they will go to any length possible to make it seem like there is drama and discord between the two sides because they don't want Lamar here long term because they would much rather pump their chest and say, I was right and EDC is a moron. It really comes down to people don't like Eric DeCosta. I don't know why. I mean, again, I've said probably more critical shit of that guy than most people.
Yep.
But I've also realized that like some of that is not really his fault, and I was putting things at his feet that weren't really on him. And I feel like it takes no intelligence at all to just look at things deeper than, surface level.
Yep.
And not a lot of people seem to be capable of that.
Yeah, part of the issue we have, and it's an NFL wide thing, and it's not an issue per se until these people start getting into fucking arguments with people that have like functioning brains. The NFL fan has evolved now, where obviously there are people like us who are fans of a team, but there are a lot of people who claim to be fans of a team who are actually fans of players. And it's like the NBA is a league that's always been this way. Even like so
the bronzexuals.
Well, and even so when I was growing up, it was the Jordan era, and I mean it was Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, the rapist, Clyde Drexler, Dominique Wilkins. There were so many fucking superstar basketball players. So it was like I had 10 different jerseys from 10 different teams of great players, and the NBA is conducive to that. And now the NFL has kind of become that way, and part of it's fantasy football, and part of it's the accessibility. Because when I was growing up, like my favorite team growing up, a lot of people don't know this, was the Bengals. There was no Ravens when I was growing up. I liked Boomer Esiason. And then when he went to the Jets, I was a Jets fan. And then when he went to the Cardinals, I was a Cardinals fan because I just was a fan of Boomer Esiason because I didn't have a hometown team to root for. When the Ravens came, I became a Ravens fan, and I've been a Raven fan ever since. But now we have people who are introduced to the NFL. They find a passion with it because you can watch your team any weekend. You can get Sunday Ticket. You can go online and stream it illegally, whatever you want to do. When I was young, I liked Boomer Esiason. I got to see him play like 2 times a year, maybe, because like you had one game on at 1:00 and one game on at 4:00. So, that was dedication on my part. Nowadays, it doesn't take too much, but we have a lot of people who are supposedly Ravens fans. And these are people who aren't like 15 years old. They're 31 years old. They're 25 years old. Maybe I'm speaking specifically about some people right now, but like they seem to be a little bit more invested in Lamar Jackson than they are in the Ravens. And they want Lamar Jackson. They're like, oh, I want to see Lamar get paid. Why the fuck? Who cares? Like,
because they think they're going to get a cut. He's
going to invite you over for a fucking barbecue or something. Like, why are you so invested in like Lamar Jackson's bank account? I just don't get that. And then their rebuttal to that is, why are you so invested in the billionaire's bank account? I'm not. I don't give a fuck if Steve Bisciotti goes broke tomorrow. I don't care. I really don't. All I want is for something to get done that makes sense. That's it. And like as far as makes sense, I want Lamar Jackson to see the light, find the middle ground with the Ravens to find the middle ground with Lamar Jackson, get it done so that we have a good player at quarterback. That's it. It's that simple.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's the best quarterback that I've watched in a Ravens uniform besides Elvis Skerback. Michigan legend Elvis Skerback. I want him here long term. I want him here long term on something that works for the team and works for him. I'm sure that happy medium exists somewhere. I would love for them to just figure it out so I can stop seeing the stupid takes left and right.
Yeah.
And then we can just fucking call it a day.
Right. I will laugh in the face of any team and the fans of any team that sign him away from us for some astronomical number. I think it was before we signed on, right? We were talking about the Colts and like, so like if the Colts were to come in with this crazy offer that's front loaded so that like the cap hits $60 million this year and we can't match it, I would laugh in their fucking face because they are carrying a $13 million dead cap hit on Matt Ryan this year. So now we're talking about $73 million. They have at least one more. They have who's that guy that the guy from
Ellinger.
Texas. Yeah. So they have him on the roster. I'm sure his cap hit's not high, but we're talking about we're in the neighborhood of $75 million dedicated to the fucking quarterback position. If they do that, they are so stupid. I will laugh in their face.
You have a pill addicted moron as your fucking owner. And you're telling me that guy's not going to crush up 3 oxys, snort them, fucking.
I'm not saying they won't.
Underwear. Yeah, that's my fear in this situation is that Eric DeCosta putting his balls on the table and saying, hey, Lamar, you're not going to get this contract anywhere else. Like, just fucking take our offer. You are now opening the door to some crazy fuck like Jim Irsay to come in and fuck you over. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I mean, Oxy High only lasts so long, so maybe, he doesn't get the deal done before he comes back to earth. But I just
from where I'm sitting, if that happens, it's like, okay, good luck.
I don't want Will Levis as my quarterback. I don't
either. But again, good luck with that. We're seeing people are like, oh, look, the Browns are so smart. They're fully guaranteed contract. There's like a clause in there. They can restructure it as many times as they want. Go for it. Because now the fucking idiot Browns, who not only gave them that contract, but mortgaged their fucking future drafts for like three straight years. Now, for the next 3 years after this year, they got his cap hit down to
64.
No, they got his cap hit this year down to like 20 something, right? 22,
and then
21. $64 million a year for the next 3 years.
And then
what?
$9 million void year at the end.
And a $9 million void year. So, but then they come to next year, right? And they're going to say, fuck, we don't have any cap space. What are we going to do? Oh, I guess we'll restructure Deshaun again. So then we're going to have 2 years where he's going to be at $80 million a year. And then what? They're going to do it again and he's going to have a $100 million cap hit. That's what's going to happen to any team that goes down this road. It's suicide. So unless you do it and you immediately win a Super Bowl, you have fucked your franchise.
So from a Browns point of view, I don't know if respect the aggression is the right word. They identified the guy they wanted to be their franchise quarterback. They identified that they needed to get a new franchise quarterback, and they pulled out all the plugs to go get him. I think that they were stupid with how they structured that contract because you could have paid him more last year, eaten the cap while he was suspended. Yep. Called it a day and move forward with it, and you're in a better shape for the next 4 years. Like, you acquired him knowing that last year was kind of a shot year. And so rather than stocking up on talent and front loading their contracts and making it so that you can have Deshaun on a $54 million cap hit this year and still have a good team around him, like they botched that whole aspect of it. And so that's where the Browns are stupid. Where the Browns were smart, and where I'll agree with anybody who says that they were smart, is that they realized a quarterback wins games in the NFL, and they went out and got a quarterback that they thought would win them games.
Sure, that's like boiling it down to like the most simplified version. Fine.
But that's the problem, is that you're having arguments with people who are not capable of anything more than a surface level boiled down argument.
Yeah.
And so when somebody tells you the Browns are smart, that's all they're capable of thinking of, is that Browns got a good quarterback. They're smart. Fine. Nobody disagrees with that.
You're totally right on that, because if they were smart, they would have had like an $80 million cap hit last year, knowing that he was going to be out for maybe the full year, and it turned out to be 12 games or whatever it was. And you're not winning shit. So what the fuck do you care about a low cap hit? Or
if you're using a low cap hit, you're using that to go get a shit ton of talent last year that, maybe holds you over at a 500 record. Deshaun comes back the last couple games of the year, maybe puts you in the playoffs. That's fine. But regardless, there was a way to manage that money in terms of you either stocked up on talent last year while he had a low cap hit, or you punted last year and then you stocked up on, people this year because you had a low cap hit for Deshaun this year.
Well, and then what they did not see coming is that he was fucking terrible.
Yeah, well, he hadn't played football in 18 months at that point.
Well, who's to say he's going to be any better this year? So, that's where the true, okay, let's see how this actually went. We start to see that this year. If he comes out and he's playing like he was last year, then they are they're number one. They already, in my mind, they are fucked. But they're
the Browns.
Extra fucked, and they are extra stupid. If he comes back and he's the same player we saw last year, and he's getting paid what he's getting paid, and they have to carry these fucking $64 million cap hits for 3 more years, and they have that void year on the end. Now, $9 million 4 years from now is probably not going to mean a whole lot, but $9 million we just saw it. We needed to come up with $11 million, and we had to cut a guy that we didn't necessarily want to cut. We had to do these restructures and everything else. So I just, when people defend it, especially when they're using it as here's evidence as to why we should do this with Lamar. You got to be fucking out of your mind.
Talking about the Jets. The Ravens should be more like the Jets.
Today I had two different people.
Hit the fucking floor.
Yeah. That was that guy. Yeah, it was that guy who said we should be more like the Jets, who have not. I don't think they've even been in the Super Bowl since 1969.
No. Correct.
And the Browns, who have never been in the Super Bowl and never won one. So those are the two teams you're telling us that we should emulate? Get the fuck out of here.
Right. But again, this is the problem with surface level, boiled down, simplified takes, and that's all people are capable of. And you argue with people who are only capable of that and expect like intelligent, nuanced arguments. It doesn't happen. This is why Grant gets killed on this podcast, is because these people with these stupid boiled down arguments have a lot of similar agreements with Grant. The problem is that Grant can go second, third, fourth level into it and actually make a coherent point. I don't agree with him. I think he's, wrong 90% of the time, but at least he's well spoken and has like logic to back up with what he wants. Whereas you get these fucking morons. Again, that kid got upset that you muted him because he tweeted you the Jets. We should be more like the Jets. That is
if I did that to everybody, if I did that to every person I mute, holy shit, man! The past couple of days, I think I've muted 100 people. So I might start doing that.
I tweeted this morning. I tweeted the wish list for today, which again I do a lot. It's half a joke. Like it's reaches. Like I didn't think we were going to extend Lamar, sign Odell, and trade for DeAndre Hopkins today. That's not a realistic ask. I would love for that to happen. It's not going to happen. And I had fucking hundreds of people tweet me like, "You're an idiot." Like, let's be real today. I got added to this group chat of these fucking 75 like pissed off 12-year-olds of like, "You're a fucking moron. Why did you say that?" I was like, "What the fuck are we doing here?" They're like you don't know shit. I was like, I just said I wanted this to happen. Like,
I like how you use a voice of like a toddler.
That's how I read their messages to me. I was just like, I said some off-color shit about one of them, and I got kicked out of the group chat. But
the funny thing is about that, that they were like they're in their little army, and they were like, let's add him in here, and we'll all say mean things to him. Let's do it.
Yeah, and then I made made fun of one of them for having family member deceased in their bio, and it was game over for them. I said he'd be disappointed in you, and then I didn't hear another word from those kids for the rest of the day. It was just but that's the other problem, is that we are arguing with children at some level, whether they are actually physically 12 years old or they're mentally 12 years old. Like that's who we're dealing with.
All right, hold on. Breaking news: Adam Schefter, Eagles never officially released Darius Slay today, and now one source says that the Pro Bowl cornerback is expected to stay with the Eagles. It's not final, but that's the way it's looking right now. A new deal could be in the works.
Eat my dick, Kendall Beck. Kendall Beck, you fucking loser. So actually, I found that tweet randomly, and like responded to it as a joke of like, this guy seems like a trustworthy source. I actually know who that is. He's a friend of a Ravens fan that I'm in a group chat with. And I put two and two together after, because his old at used to be like Keck or something like that. And I was like, wait a minute. And then I saw he followed this kid. I was like, wait a minute, that's your pal? He was like, yeah. I was like, this guy's fucking full of shit. So Darius Slay's wife also liking tweets saying that he's a fucking liar. Probably was a dead giveaway, but had to keep the dream alive.
This is not football related, but did you see the Puerto Rico Dominican Republic WBC game?
My buddy has blown up my phone. Something about Edwin Diaz is out for the year. So.
Edwin Diaz looks like he blew out his knee celebrating the walk-off victory.
Good, so I don't have to see that fucking cringy trumpet entry anymore.
Was it Justin Houston who blew out his knee celebrating a sack?
Yes. Yeah.
When he was on the Lions.
It was Kansas City, no?
I think he was on the Lions when that happened. I thought it was Justin Houston, though.
Yeah, Martin Gramatica blowing out his foot, jumping for making a kick.
Yeah, that is always. I mean, I feel bad for the guy, but it's fucking funny when they celebrate so hard that they just like.
In college, we clinched
career.
My freshman year, we went like 2-26. We were like the worst team in our conference, and then my junior year, we clinched a trip to our conference tournament and got like a 1 seed. And our star shortstop had to get stitches afterwards because somebody dove into a pig pile and fucking sliced him right up the thigh with their cleat.
I've always wondered, I would be nervous if I was a baseball player to jump in one of those piles because you're wearing fucking knives on your feet, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, you never really think about that until you get sliced up and you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, pretend I was going to jump in and just sort of stand on the outside like, yeah, all right, guys. I'm not jumping in that shit.
I've been nicked up a couple times with cleats, like it's whatever, like it's small cuts, but like that kid got like an 8-inch laceration down his thigh. Had to get like 14 stitches a day before the tournament.
Those fucking metal spikes are no joke.
No, I've used them as a weapon a couple times, so trust me, I know. Pussification of baseball.
Are there any subjects that we have not covered?
Grant, I feel like you have some stupid things to add. You were getting bullied online, and I had to step in and defend you. I didn't really read the exchange that led to that.
What? Oh, earlier?
Yeah, I don't know what you were arguing
was-
about, but I had to step in and save you. I had to. I
Oh,
had
that
to.
was that was just somebody not understanding what I was talking about. It was the whole Darren Waller thing, and I was talking about how our front office and coaching staff can't evaluate or develop pass catchers, and
Yeah, because
it got
we
into
can't.
this whole thing about how Darren Waller was a bad example, and I'm
He
like,
was a horrendous example.
exactly, but the whole point of the thing is that you have players that are openly saying, "Man, remember when this guy was torching us and coach didn't believe us?"
Oh
Like
man, remember when this guy
as to like,
overdosed in a mall parking lot? Yeah, maybe that's not the guy we should be fucking relying on
yeah,
to be wide
but
receiver one.
exactly. But like my point is they had to like the players had to like basically tell the coaches, "Hey man, this guy's really good." And that was the joke on it. The whole joke of the thing is that our front office can't evaluate wide receivers, and that's why they need to hire me. But I mean, the whole thing it came into like me saying that Darren Waller, like we should never let him go, and it was a bad example because he was a drug addict and this and that. And I'm like, God damn, that wasn't even the fucking whole point of what I was trying to say.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like he is a horrible example, so that is a correct statement. So I feel like I stopped you from being cyberbullied, and I should have let that kid go for a couple more tweets just to get his point home.
All right,
and I'll feel
hold
better.
on.
Cyberbullied like by somebody without a profile. It's just not.
There's a side-by-side breakdown of the
Much
contract
like
that
somebody calls me rare pork chop.
that was funny.
That's
That
great.
was actually
That
very
was
funny.
such a bad.
I thought
was
it was
pretty funny.
fucking funny
But
as
that's the
shit.
thing is that so like Yuri got into an argument with somebody today, and the kid quoted him. And he's like, "I'm not sure if you're aware, pal, but there's this thing called the NFL Draft on April 27th. You should look it up." And like dumbest comeback in the world, but it was just the way that he phrased it. Just had me
Yeah.
fucking dying reading the tweet. So
Well,
sometimes Twitter,
and then,
you can
well,
have a
then,
dumb insult,
and
it
Yuri's
just hits
comeback was like, "Come on, Yuri, he got you here. He got you pretty
Yeah.
good."
I tagged Yuri. I was like, you just have to accept your loss. Like this just dumbass statement just fucking
All right.
buried you.
Listen to this breakdown. So Orlando Brown was reportedly offered in July of 2022, 6 years, 139 million, $31 million signing bonus, which is the exact same amount on the signing bonus he just got from the Bengals. 38 million fully guaranteed. I think the 31 million is the fully guaranteed part though of the new deal. Okay. So more money guaranteed in 2022, 52.25 million in injury guarantees. That's very important, as we've pointed out. $95 million over the first 5 years of the deal, 44 million in year 6. And our friend Osei, he rightfully did point out that there's very little chance that 44 million in year 6, because it's not guaranteed, he's ever gonna see it. But we're talking about $95 million over 5 years. He probably would have seen all $95 million of that. And so the annual money in the first 5 years is 18.2 million, and if you factor in the 44 million, you're talking about 23.16 million overall. So it would have been the biggest
left tackle contract.
Yeah, the biggest tackle contract ever in terms of
AAV.
annual dollars. Now, what he just signed, much more simple, but much lower. 4 years, $64.092 million, $31 million signing bonus, $16 million per year. What a fucking idiot.
That's not even top of the market right tackle money, because I think Lane Johnson's making 18 mil a year.
Right.
So he's a left tackle being paid like a mid-tier right tackle.
Or a just outside of the top tier. So like, I mean, he probably would have made more money if he would have just stuck with right tackle. I don't know if we would have gotten it from us, but he probably would have gotten a right tackle contract in line with the top right tackle contract. Even if he got franchise tagged.
He was arguably the best right tackle in football, and he proved that in a pinch he could play left tackle for a short amount of time. And so he threw that away because he said that the ghost of his father told him to be a left tackle. Moron.
It's true.
Fucking. That's what he said. I'm not making fun of him. That's what happened.
Right. So this is not dissimilar from what's happening with Lamar, where Lamar has this idea in his head of what he should be getting, even though it's unprecedented. So he's like insisting that this is what I'm supposed to get. Well, buddy, your friend just went that route and it didn't work out well. I mean, it worked out fine. He's a very rich man. So I'm not pretending like, he's not getting what he's deserved. So, Zeus earned his money. He's been in the league 5 years now. So I mean,
Mhm.
he was going to get paid one way or the other, but he thought he was going to get top of the market left tackle money. He thought he was going to be the highest paid left tackle. Like when you're the next guy up, you set the market. He's nowhere close. Not even in the
In
fucking
Lamar's
same galaxy of it.
in Lamar's defense, he will get a lot of money. It may not be exactly what he wanted,
Right.
but he will get $250 million, and he'll see all $250 million.
Of course. That's why, to me, it's so silly to be hung up on the guaranteed at sign. It's just like, dude.
I do get it because it's to him. And again, I'm like speaking on his behalf, and I don't know him. I'm not going to get a cent out of his contract, but like there is some badge of honor to that for him.
The badge of honor to me would be, okay, if you have the second most money guaranteed at signing, I think then can like flip it and be like, well, Deshaun Watson's contract is stupid. I would never fucking do that because I'm not gonna stick it to the team that drafted me when nobody else believed in me. I'm not gonna stick it to the team that gave me the opportunity and put me in a position to win the MVP and to earn all this money. I'm not gonna hold them over a barrel. They're offering me the second most fully guaranteed money. If the idiot Browns hadn't done what they did, he would be the first. He'd be number one on the list. So I don't know. It's just like I think this is a cautionary tale. What happened with Orlando Brown should be a cautionary tale for a lot of players. That
I also think Lamar.
You should listen. You should make sure the people who are advising you properly, because Lamar Jackson has been led astray by the wrong people.
Lamar Jackson has been led astray, but the Ravens put him in that situation to be led astray, because I feel like if you gave him, Devontae Adams, a top 5 caliber wide receiver, to ask him to take a friendly structure for, like if there were pieces there that you could point out to him and say, hey, Lamar, if we gave you this money exactly how you wanted it, you couldn't keep X, Y, and Z. Like it's a lot easier to explain that to him. Those guys aren't on the roster right now. And so you've kind of handcuffed yourself as a general manager if you really don't have the ability to say, Lamar, if we give you this $175 million guaranteed at signing, you can't have your wide receiver one when he doesn't have a wide receiver one.
Yeah, well, I think that the more obvious transgression then isn't that they didn't get him a wide receiver one. It's that they kept Greg Roman too long, because a wide receiver one, you don't pay a wide receiver one in a Greg Roman offense. It makes no sense.
Oh, that's it. Again, people love to argue about Ravens did this wrong, roster building, blah, blah. The biggest mistake Eric DeCosta has made has been not stepping in and firing Greg Roman.
Yeah.
That is it. That's the root of all of our issues.
Yeah. If not after 2020, then definitely going into this year, going into Lamar's 5th year option, it should have been.
It had to be done.
Had to be done. And the flexibility was there to get, a top tier receiver or at least an upgrade.
Yeah.
And then build on that this year.
Mediocre.
What's that?
What was that?
EDC's mediocre.
What the fuck?
Grant.
I don't think Grant was even listening the whole time. He just was waiting to say that at any point in the whole, he's just like, I was listening, but
now
I wanted to say it for an hour and a half.
We're live on a podcast, so we're going to do this exercise. Name me all of the general managers you'd rather have than Eric DeCosta.
I mean, I sent them to you the other day.
No, say them off the top of your head.
Say them off the top of your head. Say them out loud. You can Google. I don't care.
No, I got to find
because the problem is, I promise you, when you get to
I don't know all 32 GMs. So
okay, well, my thing is that when you get,
and I look through it, I'm like, yeah,
people have been. This is
he's doing
the
a good
Ryan
job
Poles.
where he's at. Like I look
this is the Ryan Poles and Howie Roseman fuckery all over again. Is that when you get to number 6 or 7 on that list, I could point out the same flaws and the same stupid shit that all those people have done in the last 4 years.
But they close and they're not afraid to make.
What is Ryan Poles close? They're 3-14 last year. He had the first overall pick. Congratulations, you were able to trade the first overall
that
pick
wasn't
for
any due to him.
a good return.
He was in the seat for a year.
Congratulations, Howie Roseman. You were able to flip Carson Wentz to a pill-headed retard as an owner. Again, there's our favorite word again. But you were able to fucking trick that guy into giving you a first-round pick for Carson Wentz, and then you were able to parlay that first-round pick into AJ Brown. Congratulations!
But you're forgetting the most important part, that Howie Roseman gave Carson Wentz a preposterous contract after he got hurt and didn't even win the Super Bowl for them. He was just standing on the sideline.
Howie Roseman drafted Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. And this is the guy that we're hyping up as some fucking wonder kid GM.
Right. And the only reason that they were in the Super Bowl last year is because Jalen Hurts, who they never expected to be their starting quarterback.
They wanted Gardner Minshew to be their starting quarterback the year before.
Who they tried to replace several times. He had a chip on his shoulder, and he took it upon himself to grab hold of his opportunity, develop, get better. And I've admitted this many times. I never thought Jalen Hurts would be a good NFL quarterback, and he's proven me wrong. I'm happy to admit that. But
so you ready for my list?
The Eagles.
Yeah, I'm ready for your list. Go ahead.
The Eagles are just they are very fortunate that the mistakes they made with the quarterback position specifically of giving Carson Wentz a dumb contract that they were somehow able to fucking offload to someone else. And then that Jalen Hurts, who they drafted with no expectation he would ever be their starting quarterback. And then
Dolphins are good right now because the Texans gave them 2 first-round picks for Laramie Tunsil. That's why they are where they are right now.
Oh, so it's a lot of
say what you want about the Eagles and Howie Roseman, but he built a Super Bowl roster.
And then he built a loser roster for 4 years, and then he lost.
What was the dynamic that took them over the top? And it was getting rid of a first-round pick to get a star wide receiver that changes the game. Yeah, they had D. Smith, but he wasn't gonna. I mean, he wasn't gonna be the man. He's not a one strong. He's who he was last year as a compliment to AJ.
Didn't they draft him like 6th overall?
I mean, he
not a number 1 receiver. Will.
It was like 10th overall.
Oh, because they traded back.
Right.
They traded down 12th, I think. But
I mean, okay. Well, Hollywood Brown, is he a number 1 receiver?
No, but Hollywood Brown wasn't a top 10 pick.
He's a first rounder. You draft a first rounder.
Yeah, he's a late first rounder.
You want them to be a 1 to a 1B.
You listened to your 22-year-old quarterback and took his buddy from Florida who was 5'3" and built like a fucking toddler. It was a mistake.
Anyways,
I agree with that. Give me a list.
I would take Brandon Beane over him. I would take Ryan Poles over him. I would take.
But why? Oh, stop. Ryan Poles. Why?
What he's done in a year. Like, and even
Grant, you gave him a roster.
What has he done?
Too. If you're going to ask me a question, you got to let me finish.
But what has he done?
So,
that's the question.
He's been there for a year.
What has he done besides
he flipped Roquan for a 2nd-round pick, which.
And then he went and got Chase Claypool.
He traded the 33rd pick for Chase Claypool.
Okay, do we know that's going to not work out or not yet?
Yes, he had 140 yards in 7 games. It's not going to work. He sucks.
It's not worth the 33rd overall pick.
Anyway, so he's been there for a year. Okay, he flipped Roquan for a 2nd, which Roquan wasn't going back to them. He flipped him for a 2nd. He took that 2nd. Now he's packaged, and he had a 1st overall pick. He's got a quarterback, doesn't need another one. He ended up flipping it for a number 1 receiver to team up with Claypool and Mooney. He's got a tight end in Kmet. He got rid of. He doesn't have Montgomery.
He didn't draft Kmet.
Back is a spot to go now. He's rebuilt the defense. He's made the.
Hold up.
Where?
You penalize EDC because he didn't draft Lamar. He didn't draft Mark Andrews, and you're going to give Ryan Poles credit for guys he didn't draft.
No, I'm telling you, the team he's building together.
You're giving him credit for players he inherited.
But see, so this is Ryan Poles is the perfect example of what I'm talking about here. Of Grant will name 6 or 7 guys that I will say, okay, yeah, I'm not going to argue. Brett Veach, Bean, any of those guys, like, fine, I'm not going to argue with you on those because they have had a better track record over 4 years than EDC. But then when you get to the Ryan Poles of the world, you're holding EDC accountable for things and letting Ryan Poles slide on the same thing.
EDC has been he's not done anything.
Neither has Ryan Poles.
His entire 2019 draft is gone except for Justice Hill. And if he trades Patrick Queen, his number 1 pick of the next year is gone.
He has acquired Marcus Peters, Calais Campbell, and Roquan Smith in consecutive years. And Marcus Williams. So you're not gonna. You're like, oh, that doesn't matter. But Ryan Poles is getting credit for Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet, who he did not fucking draft.
I'm talking about the.
You named him.
Is there right? But I'm not. I didn't. Did I say he drafted him though?
But you're like, he's got players.
I named him because I named the entire offense. But what I'm saying is he's done all that. He put DJ Moore into that offense, and he's got.
He didn't put him into the offense. Now. He hasn't played.
Got the pick. He's got the opportunities. He's building the team right.
Okay,
Free agency this year. He's already rebuilt the defensive line. He's building the offensive line. He's doing what needs to be done for them to be competitive in their division. Our fucking GM sitting on his hands baking cookies with the neighbor. Like
Grant,
that-
they went
that's what
3-4. They went 3-14 last year. He traded anything of value for picks.
his first.
And he-
That wasn't
and-
his.
But,
Am
my point,
I hallucinating?
You're being simple to be simple is what you're doing.
no,
The Ravens, the Ravens have made the fucking playoffs every year except for last
the
year.
Ravens are
under
good, and
EDC.
the Bears are not. Like this is what it is.
So, but okay, and if you're looking at it that way, Ozzie Newsome drafted Lamar Jackson. What's Eric DeCosta's team record without Lamar Jackson?
Okay.
Bottom
Not
5.
good.
So he's not putting a team together
Because he
Okay.
doesn't have a second all-pro quarterback?
because he doesn't have the team around. Okay, in that aspect, who's the backups? Who comes in to fill in? The other teams come in. Look, I mean, you all make fun of Shanahan and shit all the time. Shanahan could throw you at quarterback, and he's going to win 8 games. That's
And then he
John
won
Lynch
playoffs in
building a
spectacular
roster.
fashion.
That was proven wrong in 2018 after Jimmy
Yeah.
Garoppolo did the stupid thing and got his knee tore up by the fucking defender from the Chiefs.
So you had
Well,
to
he
go
should have ran
5
out of
years
bounds,
back.
and he ran
So
in.
you had to go 5
Yeah.
years back to find something. That's what I'm saying.
year-
Is like we're talking about relevance.
Listen,
and you asked me a
listen.
question.
Okay,
You
but
said,
hold on.
I did. No. Let him
Hold on.
over.
Let him
Hold
keep
on.
going because
Question.
no, he's
hold
proving
on.
my point. Let him
I
keep
need to,
going.
but I need to talk about one. You said he added DJ Moore to that offense. Number one, he has traded for DJ Moore. He has not added him to the offense because he hasn't played yet. If DJ Moore gets a sports hernia or a fucking Liz Frank, what's the difference between DJ Moore and Rashad Bateman? What's the difference?
You're talking about like you're twisting something to try to fit your narrative.
No, I'm not.
But you're twisting something to try to
You
fit
are
your
talking
narrative.
about a guy. You're talking about a guy he's brought in who has not even practiced one time yet. So
if DeAndre Hopkins comes in tomorrow, you're going to say that doesn't count for EDC?
No,
because
I'm not.
Get a Liz Frank
I'm
injury?
only saying it because people say that Rashad Bateman that's not trying to fucking get better at the wide receiver position.
Did I say that?
I'm not saying you did.
Yes.
I'm saying other
No.
people.
You
represent.
You are giving credit.
You're the elected representative.
You're
of the
giving
morons.
credit. You're giving credit to DJ Moore for like transforming the fucking Chicago offense when he hasn't played yet.
What's the GM's job?
To acquire players. What
And
has
build a
EDC done? He
contender, right?
drafted 2 fucking wide receivers in the first round.
Who?
EDC has drafted 2 wide receivers in the first round in 3 years, and he's about to draft a 4th probably, or third in 4 years.
And what's that mean? That means EDC can't draft fucking wide receivers or evaluate them. So
But Ryan Poles has essentially just used a first round pick on
or acquired through a trade.
Ryan Poles just
fucking
used the
draft.
32nd pick of this draft that hasn't even happened yet on Chase Claypool.
Chase Claypool at 32 would be the best option for them this year in the draft, and he's young on a rookie contract. Why not?
What?
14 catches for 140 yards
Are
in
you
7 games.
Are you serious?
Chase Claypool would be better
ass.
than the 32nd
ass.
pick right now at wide receivers that are options. at
No,
that
he
pick
would
of
not.
this year.
Jalen Hyatt, and Josh Downs.
Jalen Hyatt is so overrated. He's going to be a bust.
And he's better
He's
than
gonna be
Chase
just
Claypool.
like Justin
Hey,
Hunter.
remind me, why was Chase Claypool? Why was he expendable?
I don't think you act like I think he's like this superstar, but to say he's not going to be able to be a contributor is just stupid.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying you have to slot him in at the cost that he was acquired. He was acquired for what was originally the 33rd pick, but because Miami doesn't have one, it's the 32nd pick in the draft. So you're telling me that Chase Claypool, who was drafted, I believe, in the early 50s or the mid 50s, I think he was around like 55, maybe.
I believe that's correct.
You're telling me Chase Claypool was worth the 32nd overall pick in the draft this year, and that the reason he was even traded is because he was supplanted in the Steelers offense by the 52nd overall pick. So we're making him more valuable in this draft than the guy who replaced him and where he was drafted. He came in and he averaged 2 catches for 20 yards per game with this quarterback who I like him, but you're saying they don't need a quarterback. It's the same quarterback. It's going to be the same quarterback. It's going to be the same quarterback next year.
So
the same exact quarterback.
McLaurin drafted what overall?
That doesn't. We're not talking about him. If he was
no. You're talking about he was drafted 50 something overall. players can
Chase
get better
Claypool's
and
production does not warrant the 32nd overall pick.
Chase
now
Claypool's
or ever.
gotten worse
But
every
you
year.
not
as a
you
Now
didn't
player.
or
even
ever.
listen to what I said. I said if they were to take a wide receiver, him at 32 is a better option than any wide receiver that's going to be there at 32. That's
Quentin
what I
Johnson
said.
is better
No,
than him.
And that's the
no,
truth.
Quentin
no.
Johnson is better than him. Quentin
Quentin
Johnson's
Johnson's
better
gonna be
than
a
him.
bust too. All right.
Jalen Hyatt's better than him.
As we move on, Brandon Bean, Ryan Poles. I would
No.
take Jerry Jones over him because he'll make moves
What?
and close
Oh,
deals. He'll
What?
close deals. He'll
What?
make moves. And Jerry's
Jerry
had great
Jones!
drafts recently.
What?
He's
What?
had great drafts recently.
And what have they amounted to?
All right, Jake, end the
Brad
end the
Holmes
podcast
for the
right
Lions.
there.
Yeah, I think it's about
Our
that
point,
time.
our point has
All right,
been
y'all.
made. Our point has been made.
Hold on.
All right,
Hold
hey,
up. Brad
hey.
Holmes.
No, let him keep going. Let him keep going.
Brent
Jerry
Balky.
Jones.
Brett V.
Trip Falky.
All right.
What? What are we doing?
Les
Hey,
Snead.
to be fair,
Chris
as far
Greer.
as
Bill
Balky goes,
Belichick.
Chris Greer.
He has a losing record as a GM.
Joe Douglas. Howie. John Lynch.
Joe Douglas. Here we go. Hey, let's be the Jets.
I'm
Let's see
taking.
the
Hey,
Jets.
I'm telling you. I'm taking all of them over EDC.
Okay, but
Because they
so hold on.
closed.
To wrap this up in a nice bow here, you did exactly what I said you would do. There are a handful of guys you named that I'm not going to argue with you because I think they are better than EDC. But when you got past 6 or 7 of them, you're getting to this point of personal
Fucking
preference.
Jerry.
You're talking about guys who Jerry Jones will make the move, so that's why you want him. Okay,
Might as well
Jones
just
has
throw
had great
fucking Dan
drafts
Snyder in
recently.
there too.
He's like Jerry
I'm saying-
Jones has had great drafts recently, and he's not afraid to pull the trigger on trades.
oh shit! All
Yeah,
right,
just
all
can't
right.
take-
Hold up. You think
Before we go,
You think that the Ravens roster right now is built better than the Cowboys roster?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, I do.
yes, I 100% think so.
before
I
we
think that the
go-
Cowboys have decent talent, but I also think that the Cowboys have inconsistent performers at a lot of positions, and I think that it's cost them in big games.
The issue
So-
with the Ravens is we can't keep everybody on the field together.
We got rid of the terrorist Steve Saunders. He's gone.
Yes,
And the terrorist
he
Greg
is
Roman.
gone.
But no, I agree. I think the Ravens do have a better roster, but I'm saying
the fuck?
Cowboys.
Why'd you ask that?
Huh?
Why'd you ask that?
Grant,
I just wanted to
before we
hear.
go,
I just wanted to see if everybody said Cowboys.
Grant, I just want one thing from you before we go. I just want one thing. Can you
Because Lamar
please
takes up
apologize for
for
Jerry
all of
Jones?
it.
Can you
Huh?
please apologize for putting Jerry Jones on the list?
That was
No.
so
Just say you're,
Jerry,
just say
I
you're
would take
sorry.
Jerry
that
Jones
was
over EDC
insane.
any
No,
day.
don't apologize.
Just-
stand by it.
just
Please
say-
stand by
Just
it.
say you were sorry. Say you were sorry and go in for the reaction, please. Please.
No, no, absolutely not. I would take Jerry Jones over EDC.
That is worse than my Sauce Gardner take. That is worse than my Sauce
That
Gardner
is
take.
that is a
Oh my
sauce.
God. All right.
That is a sauce
All right.
level take right there. Holy shit!
Before we go, I will say this specifically for Grant with Trent Balky. To be fair, he was the one that drafted Eric Armstead and DeForest Buck.
He also hired Greg Roman.
Niners defense. Yes, he
Hired
did.
Greg Roman.
He hired Jim Harbaugh and hired Greg Roman. Then he hired that
Look,
fucking
doesn't-
that Italian dude Jim Tomsula because he wanted to stroke his dick around.
Hired
the
Urban
Niners.
Meyer.
Yes, hired Urban Meyer. Drafted Jimmy Ward. He was all right for the Niners, but either way, regardless, there's that he did help to develop that defensive line that they currently have because of that. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this episode. This went on longer than I thought, but you know what? Shit went off the way.
I can't believe Grant said Jerry Jones.
We will be back next week
Sucks
or
to be
sooner
EDC.
with a Lamar update, hopefully. Don't listen to Future. Listen to the Living Legends. And it's time for me to die.
Listen to Run the Jones.
Cherry fucking Jones, man.
Hey, just because you can laugh all you want, but he's 1,000% better GM than EDC.
Oh my god!
Got what?
You
Drafting,
recall that
signing, trading. I told you
Oh
that.
my god! Raping chicks
You
on
recall-
yachts.
he wanted to draft Johnny Manziel over Zach Martin, right?
But did he?
Homeless guy told him to.
That's because his son held him
EDC
back.
would
But
never.
no, I
Nah,
asked
Dad,
the
you're not
question.
gonna fuck
I asked
this
the
up.
question about the Ravens and Cowboys rosters because they aren't far off from each other, and Lamar is what the difference maker is between the two rosters. Cowboys have a better front seven than we have. I mean, the Roquan addition that might tip us, but they have a better front seven. They have
Micah
a better
Parsons
offensive
is better.
line. They have a better
Yes.
running back because theirs actually gets on the field, and they have a better receiving core.
Michael Parsons is better on the field, not so good in the locker room.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I wouldn't want
Yeah.
him to be my teammate.
Yeah, I don't
Not at
know.
all.
I mean, it's interesting. That one caught me off guard. I'm not going to lie. I did not expect you to say Jerry Jones is a better GM. So
That went
That's
so
what-
well for us, Drew.
that's what took us off the rails here. Did not appreciate.
This is at least
You
at
had
least
to have
it's not
said
as
that.
ba-
You had to have said that to get a reaction, right?
I did.
That had to be
1,000%.
that had to be the one you threw.
My
in there to
favorite
be
part
like,
was he goes, "Do you think that the Ravens have a better roster than the Cowboys?" And we're like, "No." And he's like, "Well, I think that the Ravens have a better roster too." We're like, what the fuck? What kind of fucking trickery is this?
we got fucking punked.
No, I
Fucking
mean,
punked.
I just told you that basically their rosters aren't far off from each other. I was just trying to be freaking stupid.
He asked,
But I
he
do
asked if
think-
we thought that the Ravens had a better roster. We said
Jerry-
yes. He
but
goes,
Jerry
me too,
Jones
but Jerry
is-
Jones is better than EDC.
But Jerry Jones is like he is a better GM.
No, he's not.
Yes,
Just no.
Eric DeCosta
Just-
is not good. I don't know why you all think he's a good GM. He
You
can't.
said Jerry Jones is better than him, Grant. I can't.
is.
This happened. Those are words that came out of your mouth.
Oh my god, I'm crying.
Who's drafted better the past 4 years?
What?
Well, I mean, Jerry
Since
Jones has hit on bigger
2018, who's
names.
drafted better? Jerry Jones has. Who's had better acquisitions? Jerry Jones has. Who's not afraid to make a big splash trade? Jerry Jones isn't. Like, to me,
Who's,
those are
who's
Eric
been to the
DeCosta
playoffs
doesn't
more?
have balls. And I don't like him because he doesn't have balls.
Why have we been
Okay,
to the
but-
playoffs more?
Yeah, that's like the
right?
fine. So
Because
they've
Lamar
drafted better
Jackson.
than.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's
So-
not the coaching.
absolutely not. John Harbaugh fucking sucks.
Oh, Mike McCarthy's a better
McCarthy's
coach than
good.
fucking John Harbaugh.
Oh my god!
Or Jason
What did he do
Garrett.
this again?
I mean, he might be. John Harbaugh fucking sucks. At least Mike McCarthy can contribute to the side of the
Mr.
ball.
I have balls kept Jason Garrett around. He paid Tony Romo.
Tony Romo was a good quarterback, though.
I didn't stop recording, by the way. We're still going.
Yeah, we're still
Yeah,
going.
this has to be going. I can't. I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight.
Hey,
I'm gonna
At the
fucking
very
face
least-
down in my
Oh,
bedroom
my
trying to figure
God.
this
How dare I have a different opinion? Holy shit.
No, it's
Oh,
not
it's-
that you
it's
have
fine
a
to have a
different
different
opinion.
opinion.
You have a very bad one. That's all.
It's bad to you
It's bad to everyone here.
because you all suck off EDC. I
It
don't.
was it was even bad to
I did
you.
not
You
suck off
even
EDC.
you ended up arguing with
not even a
yourself.
little bit.
I said he's like top 10, and you're like, okay, Jerry Jones. I can't. Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy. What are we doing?
Jerry Jones is better than EDC, and I'll die on that hill.
Jerry
All right.
Jones even went
We've
back
been
and be
going
like,
for
you know,
we've been going for almost 2 hours. We got to fucking wrap this up.
yeah, we do. need
Max
to
is
wrap it
gonna
up.
kill us.
Yeah, he'll.
This needs to be
It,
heard.
it was
People-
gonna be
people need to
fine,
know.
and then it was gonna be fine, and then at the very end, it's what fucking spurred us on.
All right,
It's-
Jake,
it's-
die again so we can actually wrap this up. Jerry Jones. He just signed out.
Oh god.
Zone 32.